Sorry, I just realized that my mic was over there. But hello, welcome everybody, and welcome to the Monday Manifest. Today we are talking about the second Sherlock Holmes game from Frogworks called Sherlock Holmes: The Devil's Daughter, which is a direct sequel to the first game, Sherlock Holmes: The Crimes and Punishments. Sorry, I have my Switch on. That's why you hear the music in the background. Because I thought it might be nice to have some kind of background music. Also, sorry, I'm drinking coffee. I know, I'm a great host. But okay, so Sherlock Holmes: The Devil's Daughter is a direct sequel, and Sherlock looks the same. Everybody's basically the same except for Watson, who, for some reason, like, you have Watson from first game, who's exactly who you kind of expect Watson to be. He's like a little older, a little bumbly looking Dr. Man. And then you have Watson from this game, who looks way younger. And it's very strange because Sherlock looks the same in both games. So, but I don't know why they decided to do that. I guess they needed a sexy version of Watson. I mean, I'm sure people dug original Watson version, but I don't know. It was kind of just a strange thing for them to change, to me at least. The game itself was about 5 hours shorter as well. Like, the final act of The Devil's Daughter took me literally 45 minutes, whereas the final act or final chapter of Crimes and Punishments, I think, took me like 2.5, 2? It's definitely a much shorter game. It's still a very good game. One of the other things is, if you watch the videos that I have up thus far, this is on the Switch, so can't judge it solely on that, on this alone, because it's probably the Switch. The loading screens are much, much longer in The Devil's Daughter because it's much more open. In Sherlock Holmes: Crimes and Punishments, in order to get to every area, you had to fast travel. In this one, there's a lot of times, like when you go to Baker Street, it's no longer just the flat. You can go outside and there's like a whole area you can explore. And I believe in the first case, you actually have to go down and like walk around and find this person's house. And there's a lot more going on in that regard. There was also a bug where no matter what I did, even when I restarted the game, Wiggins kept saying this line like every 2 to 3 minutes while I was trying to get stuff done. And thankfully, once I finished the case, it was all good. But until then, it was very strange because Wiggins' disembodied voice kept happening and telling me that he needed to get with Holmes before something happened. He said it so many times, I just started to tune it out. But other than that bug and everything, like, the mechanics were very tight. I was very happy because there were a couple of sections where there was like a balancing act, kind of like at the end of Crimes and Punishments, or at least the Roman bath thing, where you have to, sorry, I'm zooming in a bit, where you have to go across a rope. But in there, you actually had to like use the stick to go across, and it sucked. Like, I just could not make it across. I don't know. There was another balancing one earlier that I got by without too much trouble, but the rope one just sucked. In this game, they changed it so you just have to use the sticks to hold the icons like in a certain area, and then your character moves forward. And that was way easier for me to do, you know, just control two things instead of like kind of having to figure out what was just enough or what was too much. Also, The Devil's Daughter has like a central theme to it, unlike Crimes and Punishments. Well, there's like an overarching case basically that you're kind of working on as you're working on these other cases. I don't believe it was like that in Crimes and Punishments. They were all like pretty separate. But yeah, like this, man, The Devil's Daughter was good. I'd say mechanically it was a bit better than the first. Like the way that deductions worked and putting stuff together in your head and all that was essentially the same. One of the other big things that they changed in The Devil's Daughter is you can make a character portrait in the first game by looking at clues when you like look a person up and down, like whether they have a wedding ring or if they've got like blotchy skin or something. In The Devil's Daughter, there are certain ones that you have a choice between the two, and either you get it right or you get an imperfect or incorrect character portrait. It means it doesn't hamper your progress in the game. It just kind of, it's like, oh, well, this isn't what this person is, and you're just going to have to kind of get all the clues to figure it out anyway. And that, like, I think I got maybe half of them right, or it feels like I got so many of them wrong, because I was just like, I don't know. And there might have been more, there were probably clues to, like, really key me in, but I was just like, okay, he's broke, I guess. And then it's like, no, he actually had money, but he lost it because of gambling or something. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I didn't think of that. But yeah, overall, Devil's Daughter, I'd say a little better than the first. I will say the length of it was a little bit of a disappointment. Like I said, it was a good 5 hours shorter for me at least than the original game. I feel like the last case was kind of rushed. Like I think they could have made it a bit more compelling. And there's really no fail state. It's just if you mess up in the last bit, you just do it over again. Like it would have been interesting if there were multiple endings, but I believe there's just one ending. So I don't know. I'd still count it as you know what? I'd say overall, mechanically and all that, I liked it more than the first, but the ending was a little lackluster. It's kind of how I felt about BioShock. Like, the original BioShock was fantastic, set the grounds for the rest of the series. You had a big old standoff at the end of the game that was really amazing. And the second game, mechanically speaking, it was so much smoother. There was a lot more customization. There was a lot you could do. But the final bit of it was kind of lackluster. And not saying that every game needs to have a final boss, but it definitely really ups the ante and brings a lot more pressure and just feels really cool. But when you have the end of the game and there's no real final adversary, it's just kind of because I believe it was just a timed thing where you had to just fend off waves of the bad people until the elevator got down or whatever, and then you were good. And it's I mean, that's cool too, but I'd rather if there was just some big guy who was oh, I'm here to stop you, and then you shot him a bunch, and then he was oh, I'm dead, and then you win the game. So I'd say that's kind of how that's kind of how this felt, honestly. And not there's really combat in this game, but it just felt like the previous one, the ending was a bit more fleshed out, or there was much more casework and stuff to go into it. Whereas in this one, it's just here's a few puzzles and some quick time events at the end and some dialogue decisions that don't really matter that much, but kind of recount how you played through the game because of moral choices. And yeah, so yeah, I mean, this is a fairly short video, but that's my thoughts on it. I can't really drone on for it forever because, I don't know. I'm not the kind of guy who can do a super deep dive. I also didn't prepare notes. This is just me standing in front of the camera with the microphone, remembering things about the game that I played a week ago. I will say, very sad though that Hot Lady was evil, but it seems to happen a lot in these detective stories. I've been watching Hercule Poirot, and there's a lot of times where the hot lady is the one who did the murder, or is a femme fatale or something, and I'm just gosh, guys, why can't hot women just live and not be evil? But I don't know, I guess it's just in their blood or something. Anyway, thank you once again for coming to this Monday Manifest. Like I said, not too long, but yeah, Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishment, Sherlock Holmes The Devil's Daughter. I would definitely check them both out. If you're into mystery games and all that and you like Sherlock Holmes, I think they're quite well done. There's only a couple of puzzles that really were to me. You can also do bowling in this game. I was terrible at it, but that's okay. There's a few kind of mini game segments which were interesting, especially since they just were a part of the case or a part of like the time that this came from. So, yeah. That's my thoughts on Sherlock Holmes, The Devil's Daughter. I'm currently working on Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. So once that's finished, look out for a video for that. So far, I'm liking it. Like, it's definitely way newer than the other ones. But we'll see at the end. So until next time, you enjoy the rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is for you when you watch this. And I will catch you guys next time.